Know your rights, because those who don't know their rights have none.
Welcome back to the Know Your Rights channel. Today we're going to be talking about the ATO, the Australian Taxation Office, and in particular the definition of a taxpayer and what that definition means to you. So first and foremost, what is a taxpayer? We need to go to the ATO, we need to go to the legislation, and we need to see what the ATO says about a taxpayer. A person deriving income or deriving profits or gains of a capital nature. So, you swapping your time, energy, effort, wisdom, knowledge, etc. for fiat currency, which has an inherent debt attached to it, clearly cannot fall within that definition. Therefore, we have now established that according to the ATO, you cannot possibly be a taxpayer. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important for two key reasons. I'm going to read out two very important court cases. The first is the matter of Long versus Rasmussen. Now listen out for that key word, taxpayer. In the Long versus Rasmussen case, the court determined that the revenue laws are a code or a system in regulation of tax assessment and collection. They relate to taxpayers and not to non-taxpayers. The latter are without their scope. No procedure is prescribed for non-taxpayers, and no attempt is made to annul any of their rights and remedies in due course of law. With them, Congress does not assume to deal, and they are neither the subject nor the object of the revenue laws. So what this means is, because we just established that you cannot possibly be a taxpayer, that the taxation laws and regulations do not apply to you. Now, as we've explained on other videos, US court cases are used in Australian courts all the time. The ATO is in fact just an agent for the IRS, so these cases most assuredly do apply to you right here in Australia. So, what's the second case? Well, the second case is another very powerful case, and that's in the matter of Hale versus Henkel. So, let's have a look at what that case says. In the Hale versus Henkel case, the court determined that there's a clear distinction between an individual and a corporation, and the latter, being a creature of the state, has not the constitutional right to refuse to submit its books and papers for an examination at the suite of the state. So, because a corporation is registered here in Australia with ASIC, it is bound by corporations law. It is also bound by those ATO laws to submit its books for examination. But an individual is not. In fact, the Hale versus Henkel case goes on to say some other very interesting things. Let's have a look. It says, the individual may stand upon his constitutional rights as a citizen. He is entitled to carry on his private business in his own way. His power to contract is unlimited. He owes no duty to the state or to his neighbours to divulge his business or to open his doors to an investigation, so far as it may tend to incriminate him. He owes no such duty to the state, since he receives nothing therefrom beyond the protection of his life and property. His rights are such as existed by the law of the land long antecedent to, which means long prior to, the organisation of the state, and can only be taken from him by due process of law and in accordance with the Constitution. Among his rights are a refusal to incriminate himself and the immunity of himself and his property from arrest or seizure except under a warrant of the law. He owes nothing to the public so long as he does not trespass upon their rights. So again, the court has made it very clear that as an individual, you have no obligation, no requirement to submit your papers to the state, in this case, to the ATO. You are not required to take any action that might incriminate you. And obviously you voluntarily filling out a personal income tax declaration form would quite clearly do that. So please, these are two very, very important cases. That definition of a taxpayer is also vitally important. So make sure you get your head around those cases. We'll include links in the description for you below, and please make sure you understand how vitally important they are to all Australians.
For more information about this and many other topics, be sure to check out our website, www.knowyourrightsgroup.com.au. You can also listen into our weekly radio shows each Tuesday night between 8 and 10 p.m. And make sure you grab a copy of our truly life-changing ebook, The Essential Step-by-Step Manual for Understanding and Exercising Your Rights.